All right, in the last hour, of course, we were listening in on the Minister Thulas Nxesi's briefing for employers and employees who will be returning to work. We're now joined via Skype by the CEO of Business Unity, Mr. Cas Coovadia. Thank you so very much for joining us, sir, on SABC News.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Just as a start, sir, what is your reaction, your general reaction really to what the Minister had to say in his briefing and the guidelines that are given to employers and employees tomorrow as they return to work? And would you say, speaking for Business Unity South Africa, that many of the businesses are in fact prepared and ready for going back to work tomorrow?
Well, I've just read the minister's statement. I couldn't tune in to see it. The statement says that the businesses have got to put into place the necessary precautions and the directions before they actually open up. I'm sure that since the announcement of the opening and the stage 4 opening, businesses have been getting ready for this. Some of the requirements are significant and onerous, but I think businesses will be ready for them. They will ensure that they meet those conditions. Certainly, that's our feedback. But we're going to have to look at this as a sort of evolving situation. There might be things falling through the cracks every now and then, and when enforcement officers are actually looking at this, they need to have the approach that says that if some things do fall through the cracks, if mistakes are made, they are facilitative rather than draconian in their approach, because this is an extraordinary situation, and we are learning as we go, and we are learning on a day-to-day basis. But I'm sure businesses are taking all necessary precautions, and they are putting into place all necessary infrastructure and PPE and other stuff that's needed to actually abide by the condition.
Yeah. You talk about, issues that might fall through the cracks. There is one that might have actually just been highlighted there. We heard one of the reporters asking about whether or not people can go to the gyms, and that, some yoga and Pilates studios were planning to open their doors from tomorrow. And obviously that isn't in the Gazette for them to reopen. There does seem to be a situation where we'll find that some businesses sort of try to sneak in from tomorrow and ignore essentially what the Gazette said and what the Minister has said. What would you say to those businesses in terms of adhering to those regulations that have been given and actually just wait their turn?
Well, look, I think businesses need to be careful. Those businesses that are not permitted under Space 4 should not be opening. Having said that, we will be we had given a significant input to government on Monday when they sought input on their proposal for opening up level 4. We believe that more can be done. We believe that more businesses could be opened without compromising the health impact, and we will continue to interact with government on that. What we would advise businesses is, if you are uncertain about whether you should be opening or not, rather get clarity from government on that before opening. Don't break the law knowingly, because that we certainly would not advise that. But we certainly believe that more can be done. So, for example, if supermarkets are open for permitted goods, and I go into a supermarket once every couple of days to get some goods, those permitted goods, there's no reason why I shouldn't be able to buy more goods there. It has no impact on health. I'm there anyway. And provided supermarkets are abiding by the conditions, we could open up under the permitted goods. We can actually expand the basket of permitted goods. Those sorts of issues we will certainly continue to talk to government about. But be absolutely clear that your business is permitted under phase 4, And as and when we are successful in convincing government to broaden the scope of permitted businesses, then the conditions will be changed, gazettes will be amended, and that's what we did during phase 5, and we'll continue to do that during phase 4.
Yeah, we heard the Labour Inspector talking about the fact that, you know, some businesses, if they're not complying to the guidelines, will be closed until they can fulfill their obligations. Would you say that that might be a little bit harsh, given the fact that the Minister himself did mention that, you know, this is, and you know, these requirements are actually an additional burden to employers. Do you believe that perhaps, you know, a chance should be given or time given for compliance? And, you know, even if we say that, you know, we're placing employees in danger, so how do we sort of balance the two issues?
Well, look, the Minister has been absolutely clear that the private sector and businesses have actually cooperated, not just in managing their workplaces, but we've also cooperated in getting the UIF payment sorted and a whole range of other stuff. So the cooperation between government and business is absolutely critical. I don't think any business is going to willfully not meet the regulations or violate the conditions. And we do need to, the thing here is that we need to get as much business activity going as possible so that we begin to actually generate economic activity. We begin to get people back into employment without negative impacts on health, and controlling that very well. The conditions are meant to control that.
Yeah.
If an inspector or if somebody from one of the law agencies, be it the army or be it from the police force, goes to inspect a business and finds that one or two things might not be there as they should be, rather enter into some sort of discussion, tell the employer that we want to see this in place within the next day and we will come to inspect it, and give the employer a chance to do that. Don't say if 10 conditions need to be met and one of those conditions is not met, we're going to close the business down. That's not the way to go about this.
Yeah.
You will actually get resistance to that sort of activity. And I think those who are doing the inspection and those who are enforcing the conditions need to be briefed along those lines, because I think we should work from the basis that employers want to cooperate. They want to actually ensure that those conditions are prevalent in their workspaces, and not the other way around, that they don't want to cooperate, and therefore we have to take the view that if anything falls through the cracks, we have to close businesses. That just creates havoc in the economy. That creates greater economic burden, not just on employers, but on employees as well. And so we should have a mindset that says people want to abide by the conditions. If things do fall through the crack, we will have a process to give people a reasonable period of time to remedy that and then go and inspect. If they haven't remedied that within that reasonable period of time, then they're being irresponsible in the way they're applying the conditions, and then you take necessary actions. But don't just go and close the business down because something has fallen through the cracks without any intention on the part of the employer or the employee for that.
All right, Mr. Coovadia, thank you so very much for giving us your time here on SA Today. We do appreciate it very much.
Thank you.
All right, that's Cas Coovadia, CEO of Business South Africa. They're giving us his reaction and Business Unity South Africa's reaction, rather, to the Employment and Labour Minister's media briefing on back to work readiness, where, of course, we heard the Minister there and his team giving guidelines for tomorrow as some employers and employees return to work. And please, if you don't have those guidelines, make sure that you take a look at the Gazette to make sure that you are indeed complying. Well, on Thursday, the 30th of